Lesson 73 starts on page 342 and it's about geometric transformations. Now we're using a little bit different format to do this lesson. We're in a program called Microsoft PowerPoint, and if you have a Windows computer you probably have Microsoft PowerPoint, especially if you have Microsoft Office on your computer. And we'll use this to help us understand about geometric transformations. Now all geometric transformations are just different ways to move shapes. Geometry, that word right here, well, this says geometric, but geometry is the study of shapes. So I know this sounds like a big scary looking title, geometric transformations, but all it is about is moving shapes. And you've been working with circles, triangles, squares, rectangles, so you're familiar with those. Let's just go ahead and see what geometric transformations are about. They have three different types of transformations: a translation, rotation, and reflection. And you use these to help you see if two shapes are congruent or not. So let's look at the first one here, a translation. I have two congruent triangles. A translation, all that is a sliding or moving of one geometric shape until you position it on top of the other. So when you translate something, you just slide it around. You don't rotate it or flip it or anything. You just slide it around. That's what a translation is. A rotation, to see what that is, let's just select that middle triangle there and go down here to this draw tool and see there's a button here that says rotate or flip. There's something called free rotate, and see how it highlighted that in those green dots. You can just click on one of those and you can rotate the triangle any place you want to, and that's a free rotate. And then if you go back down here again, they have like rotate left, so we can just rotate it 90 degrees to the left. And so basically a quarter of a turn is what we did there. And we could rotate it again another quarter turn, it'll be upside down. And then we could do another quarter turn. And then a fourth quarter turn should get it back to where it was to start with. So you can rotate, that just means to spin it around. You can rotate left or you can rotate right as well. And then I could rotate left once to get it back straight up and down. So rotation, that's just spinning it around, kind of like the hands on a clock. They spin either clockwise or counterclockwise. If you rotate something left, you're rotating it counterclockwise. If you rotate something to the right, that's the way the hands on a clock move. They rotate to the right. Now a reflection, let's go ahead and do that. On the draw tool down here in Microsoft PowerPoint, that would be what flipping is. You can flip horizontal, so that means just pretend like there is an imaginary line right between those two triangles there. If you flip it horizontally, it'll flip about that imaginary line. And then if you flip it vertically, that's like an imaginary horizontal line in between those two triangles. And it'll flip like that. Now it doesn't exactly flip it about a line. For example, look at that white line that I've drawn on there. Let's flip it vertical. See, it doesn't flip it about that line when you use Microsoft PowerPoint. But the computer program knows that that's what it's in effect doing. It just flips it like it did. It just keeps it in the same spot just so it doesn't cover up something else that you're trying to draw. A true reflection would look something like that. Here's a horizontal line that it's reflected about. It's like a mirror image. So when you think about a reflection, think about a mirror image. When you think about a rotation, think about the hands on a clock. When you think about a translation, just think about sliding an object around without any rotation or reflection of it. Let's go ahead and do a practice problem. Now I have two triangles there, one green, one is gray. And what I want you to do is tell me what type of transformations will I need to do to position the gray triangle on top of the green triangle. Now you may want to redraw this on your paper and just think about it and spin it around, rotate it, reflect it, translate it, whatever you need to do to get it to lay on top of the green triangle. And these are congruent. Those two triangles are congruent. And that's one thing you use geometric transformations is to tell if one shape is congruent to another or not, because if they are, you should be able to position them and lay them on top of each other and they will line up exactly. So go ahead and pause the CD and see if you can figure out what types of transformations you will need to use to get the gray triangle on top of the green one. Well, first, it looks like it's tilted a little bit, so we could rotate it and just do a free rotate and get it sitting straight up and down again. It's not quite there. And then we could take it and lay it right on top of the green triangle, but we see that we need to flip that still. So let's reflect it and go down to the draw tool, and we would want to flip it horizontally, and there it's underneath the green triangle. We can go to this order and say bring to front, and there it is. In order to get that gray triangle positioned right on top of the green one, we had to do a rotation, a translation, and a reflection. We had to do all three of those in order to get them positioned correctly. Okay, so just make sure you know the difference between a translation, a rotation, and a reflection, and just don't get confused about a big word like geometric transformation. Geometry, that's just the study of shapes. Transformation, that just means to move something. Okay, well that's all for lesson 73.